This is the show for creative entrepreneurs who have a message to share and want to live a life of freedom. Learn how to grow your network and net worth. Hear from exciting guests and more. My name is Dylan Schmidt, and welcome to Digital Podcaster. All right, in this episode today, we're going to be talking about money and podcasting. Cue the Pink Floyd song, Money. Podcasting can be expensive if you let it. It could actually be like absolutely not expensive whatsoever if you just use some free stuff like Apple headphones. You used Anchor, like a free podcast hosting service, and you just upload it like that. So there's like two sides of things, right? I meet people that go all in and they spend a bunch of money, and I meet people that, spend nothing. Typically the people that I see that spend nothing, I'm kind of generalizing here, but I don't recall any of the people that have spent nothing actually grow a big audience, right? Because if they're not investing in their gear, they're probably investing a lot of time somewhere else, right? So money. What you have to take into consideration when you are setting up your podcast or even have it going. Let's look at the pre-published, like pre-launch of your podcast. Some things that you have to take into consideration, right? And we're going to talk about like spending money, because this would be boring if I just talked about how no one spent any money. That would be a very short episode, but this won't be long either. So you need a microphone. You need a microphone stand. You need a way, you possibly need to plug your microphone into a computer or some type of recording device. And I like to suggest that you should have a camera. You might need lights as well. You might need a computer. You need headphones. Let's break all this down. So, and if you want like a way more detailed breakthrough of this, and you're like kind of lost in this stuff, Podcasting Academy is the place to go, podcastingacademy.com. So microphone, the number one microphone I recommend for podcasters to keep things easy is the Shure MV7. As of right now, that is around, I think, $249 on Amazon and all of the retailers. You can catch it on sale sometimes when the holiday season's around, of course. There's probably more, opportunities for that. Used microphones, hard to say, but you need a microphone. Shure MV7 is great because there are two types of connections for microphones. There's an XLR, which is the opposite. It's not USB. And then USB is the other. USB, I'm sure you're familiar with, is what you plug into your computer. XLR doesn't plug into your computer. So you would need some type of middle piece, right? An audio interface, it'd be called, in between your XLR microphone and your computer. If you get the Shure MV7, you don't need to have an audio interface. You don't need anything extra. You can plug the MV7 straight into your computer, Windows or Mac, doesn't matter, and you could record just in your computer. If you do have an XLR and you want to plug it into your computer, you would need that audio interface. There's this Focusrite is the company, and Scarlett is the device. They make a couple ones. That's a good option. There's also the Vocaster 1 or the Vocaster 2, depending on how many microphone inputs you need. That's a great option. And then there's like the most popular, which I hear people ask me a lot about, is the Rodecaster. Most of the time, the Rodecaster is overkill. It's way more than you possibly need for most situations. But people see it, they like it, it looks cool. I'm looking at it right now, looks awesome, but it's just overkill. Like if you're just a solo podcaster, you're doing interviews online, you don't really need a Rodecaster for all of these little things. So yeah, so that's kind of a breakdown of microphones. And then, the Shure MV7 is good. If that one's out of your budget, the Samson Q2U is also a great microphone. It's better than the Blue Yeti. If you have the Blue Yeti, I'm sorry to break it to you, but this microphone that's cheaper than the Blue Yeti is better sounding than the Blue Yeti. The Blue Yeti, the best part I like about that microphone, and if you look it up, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, just Google Blue Yeti and you're like, oh yeah, that one. The best part of the Blue Yeti is the looks. It's got such a great look, but I'm telling you, it does not have a great sound. The Samson Q2U is like and it's funny because when I recommend the Samson Q2U to people, they are like, really? You're recommending me this? I'm like, oh, did you want like a cooler looking one? So looks are a part of it. The Shure MV7 has the looks game, I believe. So yeah, the Q2U is great. Headphones, when it comes to headphones, it really is personal preference. Some people like over the ear. I'm not going to make any recommendations on brands for that one during this episode, but I like these ones. I'm using, I believe they are Shure in-ear monitors. I just like them because they're low profile. Doesn't look like I'm wearing headphones. I don't really like them blocky over my ears. So headphones are nice because also when you're doing interviews, you don't have any feedback. There's no bleed of noise. Like I can hear myself talk right now. That helps me focus for one. It also helps me know that my levels are good. So I hear similar to what you're hearing, and that's helpful for me as I'm recording. Also, then when we go to computer, you don't need a fancy computer to record. Just a laptop is fine. You could even use an iPad, something like that. Just make sure that you have the proper connections. And I'm not going to go over all the connections in this, but just make sure you can plug that in. And when we talk about recording like software, the free options would be that you wouldn't need to spend a bunch of money on is like GarageBand on Mac, which is perfectly fine. Or if you were using something like Zoom, or if you're using something like Riverside, which is a great, if you're doing virtual interviews, it doesn't matter if you're on Windows or Mac, Riverside is a great solution for that because it records in high quality. If you have an issue with Riverside, which I have had issues with Riverside, I would highly recommend reaching out to the customer support team because they are very responsive and they will help you work through it. And any issues you have, most of the time, all the issues I've heard about have always been able to be resolved even after a recording. So it's not like something happens and you're like, but I lost all this stuff. From what I've seen, it's all been workoutable. And Riverside, I forget how much the cost is. I could look at it right here though. Let's see, Riverside FM pricing. The pricing is around $19 a month. Plans start at $19 a month. And what I'm going to do actually during this episode as well is just kind of keep track. If you got everything I was saying, Riverside, the microphone, let's say headphones. Let's just say you spent $49 on headphones. I'm going to add this up at the end. And GarageBand is free for Mac. If you're on Windows and you wanted to use something like Audacity, that's as well as free. They don't have GarageBand for Windows, so that wouldn't be an option. And and that is pretty much it. If you wanted a camera, that's where things get, expensive because cameras are expensive. You could use your phone, which in case it'd be $0. If you use like the camera I'm using right now is the Sony ZV-1. That is, I believe it's around I'm going to give you the most accurate pricing right now. I believe this one is around $700. You don't need a 748. This is a nicer camera. I just use it for this. Like I don't take pictures around the way with it, but it's a great camera. You could just use one camera is better than nothing. Your cell phone camera is great. Your webcam is better than no camera, right? So I'm not going to include the webcam in our overall price here, but it's something to be mindful of. You could spend literally no money on and just use your phone, or you could spend $800. There's quite a big gap there. And then I also recommend podcasters who do interviews use Calendly. And Calendly is an appointment booker, right? It makes your life easier to find a time that works for you to interview people. So how Calendly works is you send them a link, they choose a time from your schedule, and then you have control over those availability. There's no more back and forth, none of that stuff. That's just doesn't look professional. It's not efficient. It's more time and energy for you. Let's see, Calendly pricing starts at $8 a month. There's free, but I'm just going to say the $8 one without going too much into here. Let's just say it was $8 a month. And then you would need hosting, right? So let's look at Buzzsprout is one of the popular ones I recommend. That starts at free, but again, I'm not trying to give you the free versions of everything here because there's limitations on all these. They do, limits. You only get 2 hours each month, no overages. the episodes are hosted for like 90 days. Like that's just a trial, basically. It says free, but it's a trial. So basically the standard plan, the basic plan still is $12 a month. And some of these are monthly costs, right? And some of these are one-time costs. And I will factor that into the overall thing as well here. And so let's see. So we got Buzzsprout, we got Riverside, we have got Calendly for booking these things, and then we have got headphones, microphone. Let's just say we're going to use our webcam or our phone to record the video. And that is like at the bare minimum what we would need. And let me just look up where we're at right now as far as pricing. So the microphone and headphones are going to set us at $298, and the monthly recurring costs for, again, Riverside, Calendly, and Buzzsprout are going to be 19 plus 8 plus 12. It's going to be $39 a month. And let's just see. And then some bonuses, right? So I guess right away we're at $337 like invested, but it's $39 a month for high quality content creation. That's pretty dang good, I would say, especially when content can lead to monetization opportunities, and you could earn a heck load of a lot more than $39 a month. As someone who makes a living off content creation, I am confident in telling you that. Also, it feels a little weird sometimes because I teach these things and people are like, well, I have to teach it to make it. No, you don't have to do it like the way I'm doing it. This is the way I'm doing it. It's not the only way, right? So you could talk about history. You don't have to like educate people. You could interview people. You don't have to be an expert or anything like that, which I'll save for a future episode. So we're not a lot invested. There's like a couple other things that I would probably recommend. Let's just say Canva pricing. Canva is a great tool to use for like graphic design, things like that. It's free to get started. You don't really need the pro, most likely, but let's just go pro while we're here. That's $12.99 a month. And you get access to a lot. Canva is one of those things that when you create templates of stuff for episode, your show art, it will save like $12.99 a month is nothing compared to what you would pay a graphic designer to do these tasks that you could just hop in and do really quick and make it exactly like how you want it. So Canva would be great for that. You could use, Aphonic if you wanted to use that, but that's like free for the basic. And Aphonic, which is aphonic.com, is basically polishes your audio so it sounds great before it goes out to the world. But that's free, and that kind of pays you go. So, you get $9 or 9 hours a month for $11 a month. I'm not going to include that one in. It doesn't feel right. But that's kind of it. Like if you wanted to create little clips of your podcast, there's one I forgot. There is one I forgot. Sorry. Two more actually. So Descript is another one that's super useful. You could record your podcast in Descript, or you could just use it for editing. But you can also make social media content for all that stuff. And we'll go off the monthly. You get 10 hours for $15 a month. I highly recommend Descript. If you follow me on social media, I recommend it feels like once a week, but for sure once a month. Descript is amazing, changes the game of editing. So Descript is awesome. If you didn't use Descript, I would recommend something like otter.ai, which is a transcription tool that makes transcription of your audio. Then you can easily use that for boosting your SEO when you upload to Buzzsprout. But you don't need Otter if you've got Descript, because Descript makes Descript makes a transcript of your episode as well. So that would be like two tools serving the same purpose. So you only really need Descript for that. It's not one or the other. They don't do the same thing. With Descript, it creates a transcript, but you edit it using text-based. It's kind of hard to describe, but check out Descript if you're interested in that. And then Otter, it just makes a transcript. You don't edit your podcast using Otter. And that is it. So those extras, if you factored those in, you'd be looking at, I feel like a car salesman right now. You'd basically be looking at $67 a month if you got added in Canva and Descript. But all of these things do so much more than just podcasting, right? We're talking, Buzzsprout is simply just a podcast hosting service, but Canva, like you're making things that could go up for social media. You're creating you can use like these tools across the board, like Canva and Descript, right? You can make little clips for social media using Descript, or, Riverside. It's like, think about the impressions you're making when you ask a guest to come on and they just effortlessly book through your Calendly link. And then you talk to them on Riverside and everything's like yours. You uploaded your logo that you made in Canva to your Riverside thing. And when they come in, they see your logo. They're like, wow, you're really doing this like professional. All of those things make a difference. And I know that you care about like, appearances on some level. If at your house or your office, I look at this stuff like a virtual office, right? Or a virtual studio. That's what Riverside is, for example, like a virtual recording studio. All of these things support that, and it helps you get your message out there. It helps set you up for monetization opportunities, and all of that for, $300 for the gear, plus the cost of like whatever your laptop was or iPad. That varies, of course, so much. And then $39 a month for like just the bare bones, or $67 a month for your absolute like this. You've got like pro stuff that I use and recommend. So I hope this helps break down what kind of like budget would look like around podcasting. If I missed anything, please let me know. If there is any more questions you have, please let me know. And if you want like a more like click this link, step-by-step guide, check out Podcasting Academy, where I go deeper into this stuff. All right. I will see you in the next episode, where we're going to talk about scheduling and how do you schedule efficiently? How do you coordinate all the schedules, right? Scheduling is a huge time suck in podcasting. I get it. It sucks. I hate scheduling. And we talked about Calendly in here, but that's not the only solution. And that's not, I didn't explain enough about how to utilize it in a way that makes the most sense. So I want you to become a scheduling pro, and we will cover what you need to know in the next episode all about that. All right. Hope you're doing great. I will talk to you soon.